Someday I will get that intro screen perfect, but not today. Because the one, oh,
Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah, that intro screen, you cut me off. That's just
yeah, I
rude.
know. And I will say that I'm sorry. I apologize. It's because the one you sent me for the solo special, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's smaller, so I
Oh,
had
you
to make it
adjusted
really big. And then
uh,
this one is really big, and I forgot to shrink it back down. So,
you know what? One of these days, I guess we're going to have to have a chat with the technical guy.
I know.
All right. Well, hello. Welcome to Hopeful Resistance. I'm back. Just for those of you who noticed my absence. I have an aging spouse whose health is I don't know what the phrase is for that, but I've been caring for my husband and I'm back now. And if you see me leap like a gazelle, it's because I've, got a notification I need to leap like a gazelle. But anyway, Aaron and I are glad to be together again on
Mm.
podcast. We have started this about, oh my gosh, 9 months ago. Can you believe that?
Yeah, every once in a while I go and look at like all the live casts we have on the Hopeful
Holy
Resistance channel. I'm
crap.
like, man, we've been doing this for a hot minute.
We have been doing this for a hot we were doing it before, and then we finally thought, we'd like to be able to provide evidence to our children and grandchildren that we spoke up.
We said something.
We said something, that's right. And so um I think it's appropriate to say that we picked this topic well before the I think I can use the word horrific, the awful things that happened this week, several awful things that happened. It's Sunday, September the 14th, and so the top of mind was there was a school shooting in Colorado, and there were 3 children killed and I think quite a few injured.
Yes.
And then,
Excuse
a
me.
podcaster was shot, a woman in Dallas was beheaded, and another woman on a subway was, uh, stabbed to
I
death.
do
Now,
like the light downplaying by calling Charlie Kirk a podcaster and not like a massive leader or a leader of a massive political movement in the United
I
States.
was gonna get there, I was just trying to
It
point out this was a very violent week.
really
Now,
was.
the important thing, to recognize, I think, and I've had multiple conversations with multiple people this week, some I agreed with and some I did not. This type of violence happens a lot. The fact that there were some quite visible violent acts occurred made it more profound.
Yeah.
Not all of these violent acts were politically related, although it would behoove us to acknowledge that Charlie Kirk's death was Charlie Kirk's murder. I need to be clear about that, was definitely politically related. The reason I'm doing all these disclaimers is the topic that Aaron and I picked to chat about were the very real and present dangers of MAGA talking point, the MAGA mindset, and extremism. Little could we have imagined that the events of this week would have occurred. So I just want to start by saying political violence is never okay.
Yeah, we're a democracy. I think
We
people,
are I loathed Charlie Kirk's rhetoric, but as a human being, he did not deserve to be murdered for his
yeah.
skewed
That's
point of view.
that's about the way that I put it is do I think Charlie Kirk deserved to die? No. That's
No,
that's about where I
I,
ended.
I,
And I
I,
sympathize with his family because, he was
no,
still dead and all
nobody
that.
should. No, I sympathize with the family. I even wrote an entire essay about love and loathing. I believe that that is the razor wire that an emotionally intelligent person will be walking this week.
Mhm.
I will stand toe to toe with somebody. I loved Charlie Kirk's humanity. As a human being, he deserved life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness within legal bounds, right? As a, podcaster,
Yeah. As
as a
someone
mega,
that's yeah, as someone that's politically engaged.
I
Um,
loathed his perspectives. I loathed all the things. But the point of what Aaron and I are really wanting to communicate is, what are the dangers? Where do they come from? What do they do? And I got to refer to my notes because Aaron and I are the king and queen of Rabbit Hole City,
yeah, and there's
which
gonna be a lot of rabbit holes. I've been
oh,
so.
so many. So I think the thing I want to start with is there are three big points on that I think we need to talk about because um, I am a retired behaviorist, and so this is about behavior. Our mindsets drive our behavior, and so um, cognitive rigidity, first one, conspiratorial susceptibility, and we've certainly talked about Rush's deep dive into conspiratorial
Right.
susceptibility, and then identity fusion. So these are psychological, and I'm, you know, not a
Well, and
psychologist.
the cognitive rigidity, I mean that's blowing up pretty big right now. If you look at Twitter, if you look at, I mean, if like you look anywhere in news media right now, that's not unbiased, or I don't know that you can even have unbiased news anymore.
You used to, I mean, it's not news.
But
I don't think there is any news. I think it's all journalism.
yeah, yeah,
So, but
and I think. But and if you go like for the biggest place, I don't get my news on, but the biggest place where I like to see how are people engaging with the information, is social media is obviously the biggest one, and because Twitter is such a right leaning space, it tends to be the one that I go to look at.
to
Um,
see what the right's saying.
yeah, to just see what people are saying. I would never I would never try to take anything I read on Twitter as gospel. um,
No.
some of the things, a lot of the times, what I'll do is I'll be on there, I'll see somebody say a thing, and then I'll go and like investigate,
But
see if
see,
there's
that's
any more
it.
information,
Yes,
so
you
on.
see something that's said and you're like, "Huh, I like it or don't like it. Let's go see if that's
Right.
true." Cognitive rigidity, I mean, the thing is that what that is I'm right, you're wrong. Our side's good, you're bad.
And
And so
it goes further, right? Because it's also like an unwillingness to even reconsider whatever it is that
100%.
you believe. Like
Well,
regardless
and
of what evidence or anything, it's just
yes.
yes.
Regardless of the evidence, and you're gonna write your own story. And I think we saw that happen within the first hour of,
Oh yes.
Charlie Kirk's death. It's like, the right did it, or I'm sorry, the left did it, those liberals, those damn liberals, this is war. And
I,
even in the tweets and the social media about the people commenting on it, just like those bastards, we're
yeah, and I mean, and I'm not granting that. I want to say that even in my mind, I was like, well, I thought that it was either going to be the extreme leftist or uh, the extreme right, like the Groyper community,
you
because of the
I don't think you
Fuentes.
remember you sent me a message that you said Charlie Kirk was just killed, and I bet it was someone from the alt-right.
Yeah,
You said
because
something to the effect of it was something from the alt-right, and I was like, "But isn't he alt-right?"
well, yeah, but then and that's the thing too is I think I sent you a meme like a couple of days ago where it's like I have once again had to deep dive into the alt right subcultures just to try and stay up to date on like the history we are currently experiencing.
But here's the thing that cognitive rigidity causes, and we're seeing it play out, and I we started this podcast to be hopeful. So this is a little what I'm about to say is extremely counterintuitive to that. I don't know how to get some people on the left or the right to back away from their positions. I've never, I mean, I'm 64. I've never in my life seen such cognitive rigidity that
Right.
we're right, you're wrong. This is the only way. Because democracy is based on compromise. Democracy is based on, well, I don't agree with you, so how can we, moderate this? We have, I mean, we're off the rails.
Yeah. You know, I I see it said a lot by people on, online, where it's like there's no off ramp at this point, and it's in part because there's the leadership on the top of like both parties is at odds with the way that we should be responding, and for the left in particular, for the Democrats, there's not a lot of faith in that leadership because it's always been weak in comparison to the response. And so they're doing what I think they should be. I think because they are trying to call for, like, okay, this is a time where we should be condemning this. This is not democracy. This isn't okay.
No, I'm the president. Fuck that
Yeah,
noise.
and the president and really all of the like
All the
right
rest.
leaning. Not, and I'll say there are some senators I've seen that have come out and been like, "Yo, I disagree with the president. We need to be cool in it."
This is a tipping point, and from what I've seen, the 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 conservative pro-lifers don't sound really pro-life right now.
Well, and
They're
it's so crazy
round
to
'em up, round up those
Yeah,
liberals,
it's so crazy to me that on I'm trying to think because I lost it. But it's crazy. It's absolutely insane to watch.
Well, I think one of the things, and I made some notes here. Democracy requires compromise, but here are some examples. The punishments that are going on right now, the whole conversation about, Charlie Kirk is about free speech, but then anybody who has said anything negative about Charlie Kirk some teachers have been fired. Charlie Kirk called for teachers to be fired because they were saying things that were these radical liberal things.
Yeah,
So, you know, uh, it's cognitive rigidity that what I believe is right. And here's the scary thing, and here's what I think is the most dangerous part of the MAGA mindset and extremism. When it is wrapped up in religion, that's what caused the inquisitions. That's what all of the, the I can't even think of what the name is. The banners with the big red cross. The Turk, they went into
the
the
Crusades.
Crusades, thank you,
Hmm.
duh. I mean, all of this is based on our religion is right, our religious beliefs are right, and we're wrapping that up in our politics. And if you don't believe what we believe, well, you must die.
Well, and this is actually the thing that I talked to, because I mean, I told you last Sunday I actually did an episode where I was talking about what Kirk's motives are, which is
And
which
remember,
makes yeah,
like the
which
day he was shot, I'm like calling you, going, "Do you maybe think you ought to take that down?"
no, and I
Because
want
everybody was acting so crazy.
yeah, and it's one of those like things like I want to say it's like I want to say it again, just just because just because he was assassinated doesn't mean that my opinions on his rhetoric have changed. And that's another thing that's kind of driving me crazy is well now if you say something about his rhetoric, the MAGA
Oh, you're
people
mean.
lose their fucking mind.
I can't tell you the number of people who are like, uh, e I even have some close friends who are like, "Well, you shouldn't speak evil of the dead." And I'm like, "Hang on a second. I am literally repeating what he said.
Right.
Okay? I don't condone I saw this on a meme. I don't condone Charlie Kirk's death, but Charlie Kirk condoned his death because he said some deaths by gun violence are necessary to protect our Second Amendment.
Yeah, there's a lot, and that's the thing is
But I'm the mean guy when I say it
right.
about someone.
Well, and it goes to that thing that I said before, where it's like the the right has been cranking up the temperature. They have done nothing to lower it. They have done nothing. I mean, I will grant. This is the one thing that I told my wife. This is the one thing that I actually agreed with Kirk on. It's that people don't care about each other anymore. So whenever we try to have these conversations, it just turns into like a big heated argument instead of there being any real conversation. And I try to grant people the other thing, which is he never turned down a conversation. I don't like when people are like, he was always so respectful. No, he was civil. I'll give him that. It never blew up into like, but
I've seen
respectful is
it
kind of a
takes
stretch.
all, yeah, it takes all I can do to watch I mean,
Right.
just some things about that just drive me nuts. But I want to say that sorry, I'm just
It's
multitasking here
okay.
trying to watch what we're doing. I don't want to ignore anybody if they say anything, so
Yeah, and I've got all the chats up. I mean, I'm looking.
oh, you've got the chats. I
Oh
don't even
yeah.
have to pay attention.
Oh
This is great. Okay, I'm gonna shut this thing down.
yeah.
Why
I
am I
try to keep all the chats up. Granted, if you hop in
You're the
here,
game you're the
yeah.
streaming game
If you
guy. I don't
if you hop in here, you do have to be a subscriber for 5 minutes before you can chat. That's just
think you should make it 6 just to be aggravating.
yeah. Well,
It goes in 5
I would, but it only gives me. But the reason why I set that up is because I used to have it where anybody could come in and chat, but then you run the risk of people coming in and just being like really aggressive
Yes.
and not wanting to engage in actual conversation. So
So one of the things we were talking about Charlie Kirk and civil debate. This is I think I've heard that so much, and we could spend hours dissecting this, but one of the things that was profoundly obvious to me is he's 30 whatever, he goes into college campuses, he invites everybody to talk, and they're arguing with each other, he's making his points, he's everybody's trying to catch each other, and I he misrepresented so much information, and they're not able to fact check him in real time. So by way of example, when we talk about him being the champion of free speech, um, he goes into these college campuses and he's regurgitating similar information over and over. And I'm actually pretty surprised that nobody noticed that and came back at him. Well, I've not seen his big thing was to say black people were 14% of the population and 57% of the crime. Okay, well, that is a statistic, but it is misrepresented.
yeah, because and this is I talked about this in the video is like Kirk loves to use accurate factual information, but he doesn't like to talk about the historical basis of that information. He doesn't like to talk about the he doesn't like to he never really wanted to deep dive whenever on like on the facts if they could if basically if they
No,
counter
because he
what
would
his messaging was.
he would keep over talking, but even in the sense of, and I'm not making my point very well, so bear with me. The statistics he quoted were correct in that they applied in this section, okay? But if we're talking about, a number of arrests, white men have a higher percentage. I actually did some research on this, and uh, and I've got all the sources, and I posted it, of course, on my Facebook page. You guys are more than welcome. I'm the Zinkster on um, on Facebook. So here's the thing. Black African Americans are 14% of the US population. And all arrests in 2023, aggregated arrests, because this is where Kirk is like, was saying, like, oh, 50 some percent of the crime is black people. If we take all arrests, uh, 2/3, 66% are white people. If we take arrests by race, I'm sorry, arrests for rape and sexual offense categories, the rape arrests in 2023, 67% of people arrested were white, at 28.6 were black. Sentencing, the US Sentencing Commission quick facts showed that 50 to 80% of sexual abuse offenders in federal cases were white.
Yeah, do you know what the counterpoint to that is? Because I can tell you
I
what
can't even imagine.
though. Well, there's more white people, of course. Yeah, that's the counter argument to that, and it's
Oh
just,
my fuck. Okay. Yeah.
but
But this is the Olympic level gymnastics, and
yeah, and I
the
mean, and the biggest thing is, this is something I actually found really interesting. It completely ignores it because Charlie always wanted to talk about culture, But like
No.
whenever you have these conversations, it just completely ignores the economic status of of where this crime is happening, right? Because
But
most
the
crime occurs due to impoverished conditions. It has almost nothing to do with
Well,
um,
here it is. The black on black, the majority of murders was, the most homicide was interracial. It's black on black homicide, but it's concentrated within communities that have high violent rates and are low income.
right. And
I mean, it's your point of they're taking
yeah, I know.
cognitive this rigidity of no 14% of the population and 50% of the crime. It's like, okay, we have to consider some nuances here, but that's that crazy liberal.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing too is, and I actually when because I sent you the clip, where I sent you the clip from that debate, and I didn't feel like I don't remember her name, but I didn't feel like the woman that was arguing, in against Charlie about affirmative action. I don't feel like one, I don't feel like she was given the opportunity to really represent talk, I guess, rebuttal against those facts. But two, I felt like she maybe needed more information because
She didn't have data. She didn't
right,
have data to support. She was saying, well, maybe, the fact yeah,
yeah, it's unfortunate.
cognitive rigidity, and here's the thing, and I see this a lot in the people that I know where we are, physically located,
Mhm.
the people who are Trump supporters or MAGA here. It is this. There are no nuances.
Right,
The immigrants are bad, the blacks are bad,
right.
e
Yeah, and I don't mean to,
I don't even know. I mean, I think you and I are just like I'm just sitting here like, what happened?
because this is, I think, another one of the points. How on earth are we supposed to have an actual conversation, a problem-solving conversation, if we can't even have that conversation within reality? Because the reason why I get so
100%.
frustrated is because if they only want to embrace reality if it supports whatever like mental I like whatever they've decided that reality is, right? So for example, they want they want to talk about how like
And when you say they, we're talking about MAGA
right,
and all
right.
right. I think it's really important. We're not talking about conservative Republicans. We're not talking about
Well, yeah, and I would say even the extreme left does this too. So it's really just the extremism in general, where people don't want to have honest, practical conversations with using all the facts. Because this is like, I'm always saying that we need to, that we demand that the right, basically admonish their extreme right, and they won't. I think it's important that we hold to that value with our people on the left. I think it's just as ridiculous whenever I hear leftists talk about how we've never seen true socialism, or or that like that socialist Russia, that the Soviet Union wasn't that bad, or that like Mao's China wasn't that bad.
okay,
Like
I
we need to be able to have honest conversations about how bad all this is. Okay,
I've missed all
and
this
it's
because for obvious reasons, but you have way more fortitude than I do.
yeah, again, I'm not going to sit
Here's
here.
my question to you.
What's that?
I don't disagree that we need to admonish or whatever the phrasing is, that we need to say, okay, we have got to how do we get people to agree? If we're talking about cognitive dissonance and we're talking about, this cognitive rigidity, we're actually asking these people, and you know how hard you and I tried with Rush and how hard we tried with some other people.
Right.
How? I don't know of a way.
Well, this
I've
is that's and
facts,
this
facts are
this is
wrong.
this is 10 years in the making. This goes back to the other side of it. All of this really, it's because these things are so complicated. People don't want to take the time to go and actually find out for themselves. Most people don't.
It was work. I will
Yeah,
say finding all this data today to and honestly, it never even occurred to me that somebody would say, "Well, of course there were more whites. There's more whites."
yeah. Well, yeah, people, and the thing is, people don't want to go look it up themselves, and then they don't want to trust the data if it doesn't support their worldview, regardless, like period. So,
Yeah.
what and now what you have is you have people that have built their entire career on being the voice that tells you what you want to hear.
Well, and tells you what to believe. Speaking of things that aren't true, I have spent the last couple days deleting things that I shared that at the time I believed were true. That I thought I had received the information from a credible source. Did it hurt me to have to say, "Hey, folks, I have to take this down. It's wrong"? Yeah. Did I feel foolish because either the information changed or I hadn't done my due diligence?
And I applaud you for that because, like, for example, whenever we, like, the most recent one, I think I sent this to you today, they're talking about Tyler Robinson and they're claiming that he lived with a transgender girlfriend
He lived with
whenever
his
he
parents.
lived with his parents. He did not like that. It's just false. And
It that was a made up
yeah,
story to support. It's like you said, I cannot this is a house of cards. The MAGA mentality or extreme mentality, whether it's the left or the right, is built on a house of cards. And my mental health depends on being able to sustain that.
right. Because they've already written the narrative, so they have to be able to maintain that narrative.
Well, here's the thing. Let's think about, if we're going to talk about cognitive rigidity, I want to share a couple of stories where the facts just don't matter. Um, a friend was sharing a story with me of a guy she worked with. They were talking about Charlie Kirk being shot, and my friend said, "Well, okay, you saw the video of him being shot, and the president was also an attempted assassination, and so you saw the damage that was done with this weapon. Had the president been hit, wouldn't there still be a scar? Wouldn't there be a wound? Wouldn't there have been at least a wound for maybe a month? Maybe he got plastic surgery, but wouldn't there have been a wound?" Hoping to point out the lack of logic or the flawed thinking. Nope. Well, he probably was just holding his head at just the right angle so that when that bullet hit, it just didn't do that
Yeah,
much damage. A lot of blood, because those flesh wounds, right?
yeah.
And another example, I was watching, I think is Destiny the young kid who debates and he's so adorable and
No. So you've got Parker.
Maybe his name's Withers?
Yeah, then yeah, Dean Withers is another
Dean
one.
Withers,
He's
he's the one
the
who cried
he's
this week when he was talking about, Charlie Kirk. Yeah, I
yeah.
know, that's not the point is it's
It's
Dean
it's
Withers.
so performative. I'm sorry. It's just so
I know,
performative.
I think at some point it does come. I hope we always stay small so that we're always just really who we are,
Yeah.
right? So Dean Withers was talking with a guy about Trump going backstage when at the, pageants,
Mhm.
girls were undressed.
Yeah. So I've
And
seen
and
this clip.
okay, yeah, and so the guy's like, "Well, there's rules. He would never do that." And Dean Withers is like, "Dude, I have him saying that he did it." Well, that was just satire. He was just kidding.
They do that for Trump so much. They do that for Trump so fucking much. And it drives. It is maddening how much they. I can't. I just can't. And it's. They do it so much. Anytime Trump says something that is
He's just
absolutely
kidding.
outrageous, it's just a joke. Oh, he was just kidding. He was just kidding about saying that he was going to run for a third term. He was just kidding about saying that he was gonna that he was going to deploy the National Guard to Chicago. He was just kidding. He's always kidding. And then when he does it, there's infinite justification. Well, maybe if Chicago did a better job of taking care of their crime, or it's just there's no. That's my point. It's endless, and this is that thing we've talked about this way early on in our show. It's that all roads lead to Rome thing. No matter what Donald Trump does, there it is always justified. It's either he was
And
kidding or what he did was justified.
this actually leads to something I know we're going to skip because I
Sorry.
listed them in order. But one of the real dangers of the MAGA mindset is the identity fusion.
Yes.
And I know, the conspiratorial susceptibility was number 2, but we're going to leap.
It's yeah. This and
Hey, we're
this.
kind of staying on topic, which I think is just pretty
Yeah,
impressive,
well,
right?
and this is the one that kind of makes it. This happens. I actually think that this kind of does happen on both sides, but I'm not willing to. At this point, I'm not willing to grant anything to the MAGA people until we can find common ground on the temperature of the political climate we currently exist in that led to the death of a massive political
Massive.
influencer.
And I mean, the all right.
And it's not been the
Identity.
left that's been raising that temperature. I'm just saying it's just
The left is, well, I'm just saying the left. If you look, there's actually a woman I'm following, and I sent you a link to her this week.
Mhm.
And I said, I think I love her because she's all about data and statistics. She has got a large language model, not AI, it's a data collector aggregator thing. So
Right,
I guess it's AI, but it's going through all the transcripts of Charlie Kirk's everything he's ever said, all the things.
right,
And it's doing this scoring. She's working with some universities and some behavior. I mean, they found out she was doing this. It went from nothing to like, it is this international project right now.
right.
And she's scoring what he says in context, out of context, on a violence scale. They did this with Trump. And over the course, a university tracked what Trump was saying over the course of a few years. And the language that he used escalated. The violence that he encouraged escalated. And the same thing it was happening with Charlie Kirk. But I think the thing about, what the reason that most MAGAs and extremists on the left and the right get so upset when you disagree or you're trying to show them something different, I'm not attacking your Christianity.
Right.
I'm attacking
I'm attacking
identity.
you. Yeah, I'm attacking who you
I'm
are.
attacking like your sense of self. You
Right.
are MAGA.
Yes.
I am the patriot, not I believe in this thing. You and I say it all the time. Prove me wrong. I am open to being wrong.
Yeah.
But when we talk about agreeing, Aaron, here's the thing. I want people to agree on basic humanity. I want people to agree that you're going to stay out of someone else's pants,
Yeah.
figuratively and literally.
Or that you're going to stay out of their house in general. This is like the whole thing with with like marriage. Like I couldn't believe that we were getting back into the conversation, which is lost now, but that we were getting back into the conversation of should gay people be allowed to get married. And I'm just gonna say this, and this is the end. Like this is just my stance, and I cannot connect the legal status of marriage by the state basically recognizing that your assets are together, that your money is together, that you two are making a commitment to one another to by law be united. How does that in any way connect to the religious aspect of it? Because I could even level with them if they were like, if a church says no, I wouldn't think it'd be right that no, we're not going to let you do a marriage here because we don't support gay marriage. I feel like that's a freedom of speech and they shouldn't have to.
You get a civil union.
Yeah.
The fact that the government is regulating the relationship between two people, I could not agree more. But here's the thing: this is where it's okay for religion to get involved in politics when it benefits religion.
Right.
But we're not going to be taxed. We're going to be tax free. Don't you get in our money
Yeah.
here? But the other thing is, this is where it's become so dangerous. This is where the MAGA mindset, which sprang from conservatism and has grown by feeding the lizard brain of hate and fear. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, this we've talked about hate and fear, hate and fear, hate and fear.
All the
You
time.
hate the gays, fear the gays. You fear the immigrants. They're going to pollute our children. And I'm like, okay, no. And the world is not a better place because of this mindset. It absolutely is
Yeah.
not.
It's like, did you see? So crazy. Did you see the Fox and Friends? I think I already asked you. You saw the Fox and Friends interview with President Trump after Charlie Kirk's assassination. He's on the show, and they are trying to give him layup after layup. Like, hey, don't you think that we should be talking about unity? Don't you think that we should be condemning the extreme right and the extreme left? And you know what he says? He goes, I'm just going to say it. You guys, this is going to be popular. But, every time I hear about the extreme right, they're just against crime. They're just, that's all. They don't like crime. They just want their neighborhoods to be safe. But these extreme left people, their rhetoric is outrageous. They're terrible. They're nasty people. And all I can think is, dude, you are literally just promoting and condoning alt-right violence. Like, you're basically just promoting terrorist groups at this point.
And again, when they were tracking his language over time, where he talked about, like, as a matter of fact, I don't have nearly the examples I wanted, but he was talking about political violence as being acceptable. He was talking about, I am the retribution. We're going to fight this fight, these battle cries, these.
Yeah. It's like if you don't. I remember whenever for the J6 stuff, whenever he literally was standing up there, you have to go fight for your country. They're trying to steal your country. You need to go fight to take it back. And then people were
And they
trying to
tried
be
to
like, well,
say,
he didn't
that's not what
encourage
I
it.
meant. That's not what he meant.
Yeah, he didn't
But the
encourage it,
identity
or that he
then.
didn't say it at all. Yeah, it's one or the other. Sorry.
No, no, but that's where, MAGA is me, pro Trump. MAGA is pro patriot. MAGA is uh all the things. Um, there was a survey done. There was a survey done in 2023 where 28% of MAGA Republican American patriots may have to resort to violence to save our country.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. It's like,
Yeah.
it's so frustrating. This is why it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because they'll say things like that, and then they expect us to capitulate and say, and basically just be like, like to disavow the killing of Charlie Kirk, right? They're like, oh, you're celebrating his death. I mean, there are
The
some
fact that
people,
I'm not
but
mourning,
nobody supports that,
the fact that I'm not mourning does not mean I'm celebrating
right?
it.
And then
I
couple
have
that with like the response to those guys breaking into Nancy Pelosi's house and beating the shit out of Paul Pelosi, or the minute, or whenever
and
the
how they acted after that.
yeah, or whenever
They,
the Minnesota senators were killed, and Trump literally said, "Oh, I'm not even going to bother calling Tim Walz because it doesn't matter."
and I don't think they put the flags at
Yeah,
half
they
mast.
didn't. They didn't.
And I can guarantee I'm fucking to you that they didn't put them on Air Force Two or whatever
Yeah.
that was.
I mean, again, it's. I don't know how we turn the rhetoric down because we're not the ones cranking the rhetoric up, but we're being accused of it. So this is like,
And this is the thing. This is what drives me crazy. This is the circumstance where it's like, Aaron, don't be defensive. Stop being defensive.
yeah,
You're most people, and I'm going to give you a tip here. Most people don't know what to say to that. They're like, I'm not being defensive.
right,
What we need to be saying is, I hate that you're interpreting my resistance to your hostile behavior as being defensive, but I find what you're doing is threatening or whatever. But we don't do that
right.
because we don't know that. And, the leadership sadly, the Democratic leadership needs to be badass. I mean, Gavin Newsom was coming out pretty good until he did whatever that shitty thing stupid is. He said something stupid about Charlie Kirk and how we all need to be like Charlie Kirk, and it's
Well,
like,
and I gotta
he
say,
had momentum until he said that.
yeah, and people can sit there and I mean he lost but Charlie Kirk came on his podcast. Gavin Newsom's first episode of the podcast, he invited Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk came on. And granted, watching them talk was so annoying to me because I'm like, you guys are some of the most arrogant motherfuckers I've ever seen have a conversation. But one thing I noticed in that was the way, and this is what's happening now, is the way that Charlie Kirk was pushing Gavin Newsom to always give up a point, right? To always be like, well, what about whenever the left does this? And Gavin Newsom would own it. He'd be like, yeah, you're right, we do that. But what about when the right does this? And then Kirk would go, well, I don't want to talk about that. And that's what they're doing now. They don't want to talk about what they're doing. They want to talk about what we're doing. They want us to own it, which is why, like, now I'm like, no, this is the prisoner's dilemma. That's where we're at. I can't.
That's right. And there's nothing to be sorry about. This is really important. The prisoner's dilemma. You sent that to me, and I'm like, I'm kind of ashamed as a behaviorist. I didn't know what you were talking about. I was like, what?
And for everybody that's
explain what a prisoner's.
Sorry. So the prisoner's dilemma is, okay, I'm gonna try and summarize this kind of long. So you've got two guys that they've been arrested for committing a crime together. If they don't rat each other out, okay, so they neither one of them cooperates with the cops, they only go to prison for a year. If they both cooperate with the police and betray each other, they both go to prison for 3 years. If either one of them rats the other one out and then the other person doesn't, then whoever rats the person out goes to prison for 0 years, and the person that they ratted out goes to prison for 5. Anyone that is of reasonable mind would recognize that your best case scenario is to rat out your partner, and on the possibility that he's not going to rat you out, because then you would have no time. And because you both recognize that that's the best scenario, and that the alternative is just 3 years instead of 5, most people are going to cooperate with the police and rat out their partner. The way that connects to what we're dealing with now is, if we give up, if we basically own like our rhetoric, or we own the things that we've done wrong, and the right never does that, then we're the ones that go into prison for 5 years, and they get to walk away scot free. We need
Which leads us
right.
Which leads us to the conversation about the danger of the MAGA mindset is that violence is, violence, we're going to get our way, this cognitive dissonance, this rigidity. Then it goes into this conspiratorial susceptibility
Yes.
where everything, well, all the conspiracies that we're told, it's been what, 2 days, and so I mean every conspiracy that you could ever think
You could
of.
think of. He's not.
I mean,
Charlie Kirk isn't actually dead. Did you see how his wife was reacting? Doesn't even look like, it seems like she's just acting. So he's probably actually alive. This is just Trump
Oh,
just
and it
did
had to
this
be
to.
a
Yeah.
high-powered shooter. It had to be like some, super
Yeah.
shooter. And I'm like, okay, anybody who has any practice with a hunting rifle could have made that shot.
Right.
The point being, you said it. What what are we trying to achieve? Where's the unity going to be? The danger of the MAGA mindset is that the only solution to our disagreement is violence. And our perception is the only solution to this is that we find common ground. And there is, in my mind, I don't know what the common ground is.
Yeah.
It seems that we are diametrically opposed on everything.
Well, and
And it didn't
yeah.
used to be that way. So my question is in the last 5 years, what's changed? Last 10 years?
Yeah.
I think social media has changed, and the use of influencers, platforms to turn people to extremism on both ends.
Yes. I've been listening to General Mattis's book. I actually just finished it. You have some time, you should check it out. It's called Call Sign
Okay.
Chaos. And at
So
the end,
what?
it's called Call Sign Chaos.
Okay.
It's a leadership book. It's kind of like his memoir, because he's walking through his career, but most of it is to focus on what he did as as one of the greatest military leaders of our time, to lead people, right? Um, at the end of it, whenever he's talking about reflections, he's talking about the letter that he sent to the president, and whenever he was leaving office, because he was the Secretary of Defense, if you remember, for two years into Trump's first term, and then ultimately left. But one of the things that he talked about is that the real sickness that's going to wind up taking America is not the enemies without. It's going to be the enemies within, and it is this tribalism that we have been developing within, that has been growing within our country, that has only really been like pushed further by the leaders, by political leaders, and
I would also say, I also want to interject quickly to say political leaders are capitalizing on algorithms that reward outrage.
right. That was like the thing
And
that I
that way
that you
it
posted.
feeds. Hmm?
That was like the thing that you posted from the Marine subreddit that we shared.
Right, right.
It's like,
Yeah. Well, and I mean, if you think about it, I don't think we can point to any one villain here. The politicians are capitalizing on the news no longer being news, it's now journalism. The politicians who capitalize on the news not being news, are the news people are capitalizing on the fact that they can say whatever they want, and outrage is rewarded in the algorithms.
yes,
And the Twitter data, here was a little interesting tidbit I found. False political news spreads 6 times faster than the real thing.
yeah,
And so if we talk about, this tribalism, it the the white mentality, the white supremacy mentality has crept in, but it has not been one thing or one villain, I guess. There's more than one actor. We can't say it's the Trump regime, right? The Trump
Well,
administration is capitalizing on all
well,
this.
I don't know. And the reason why I say that is because that's the that's the leader of the land. Like if the guy that is sitting at that we've elected, I mean, whether or not you elected for, whether or not
But he
you voted,
couldn't do it without these other things in play.
true. But let's okay. I'll give you
Biden had the same okay, Biden, Obama had the same capacity to exploit these things as what you're saying.
But they
So
didn't. But they didn't
they did.
because
So
whenever
that's
there was
what
like
makes
that white
Trump
nationalist shooting
culpable.
at the synagogue, Biden's message was we things are out of hand. We need to come together. We need to stop fighting. With this is
I agree.
America. And then as soon as this shooting happens, the immediate message from the office of the president is this is the left.
Oh,
This is all the left's fault. Like and
I agree.
yeah.
I
And I'm
agree.
sorry. I just
No, no,
I can't grant the president any like I can't grant him anything because it's there's no equal pushback. That's
but
like
I will also say this, Biden and Obama, because they didn't capitalize on hate and fear, the media did not love them. They were not darlings
right.
because they did not increase or improve ratings, right?
Yeah, well, and I would say the problem we have now is that the media is so worried about being perceived as bias that they won't report anything.
Well, the Wall Street,
Uh,
what was it? The Wall Street Journal and the Guardian. I was sad that the Guardian had put out that misinformation so quickly. But see, everybody wants the scoop. Everybody wants the
yeah,
things. Um, yeah, I think that I read somewhere. Oh, here it is. Steve Bannon has openly described this strategy as flooding the zone with shit,
yeah. We've talked.
overwhelming truth with disinformation. We've talked about this
Hmm.
multiple. But, I think when leaders deliberately spread lies, you know, when you talk about us shooting for unity, I mean, I have to say I feel that we are at a tipping point where reaching across the aisle for unity is not going to happen. That we have to find like-minded people with whom to band to, I don't want to use the word combat, to push back against the people who have united with the values and morals that we disagree with.
Yeah, and I I would like to see more bipartisanship within our government in particular. It's again another reason why I can't grant the president anything because he's the reason why that doesn't happen.
That not just him, the entire cabinet,
Yeah,
the entire anybody working in the
because
White House.
anybody that steps out of line within the Republican Party is primaried. Is I mean, you
Well,
know,
okay, if they're shooting the Democrats, what are they going to do to the Republicans who betray them? I mean, we are hitting a tipping point where, and I've said it before on this show, 2027 is going to be, I think, the fulcrum for the big tipping point. So, um, I want to give people a sense of hope, and so I'd love to spend a minute talking about what the fuck do we do about this?
you know, a couple episodes ago, you know, I had Josh on as my guest
Oh yeah.
co-host.
I was surprised he actually showed his face. Good
Yeah,
for J
I was. But one of the things that he's talked about that we've talked about um, is, and it's just gonna sound, I guess, I don't know, people. How is that hopeful? Is you've got to recognize that on a national level, things are pretty bleak. So if you want to really touch, like touch something, it's got to be you do it local because you have
100%.
so much impact as an individual and within your immediate vicinity.
I think local focus, I think, first of all, I want to start my response to you by saying we have taken democracy for granted
Hmm.
for so long. And all it took was one batshit crazy megalomaniac narcissist sociopath to come in and and gather every other narcissist sociopath.
Yeah.
And so you're right. We can't fix this from the top down. We have to fix it from the bottom up. So local elections, I mean, uh, I I don't have the bandwidth, but I know there has to be somebody out there, Elections, sorry. There has to be somebody out there who is gathering, local election data or where people can go
Hmm.
because school boards matter,
Yeah.
city council
Yeah.
matters.
City council, your local state representatives, like you've got you the you have a lot of influence locally, and that doesn't mean that there's not ways to join national movements. I would just say that for that maybe everybody's not interested in getting involved on a national level, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that if you're looking to find hopefulness amidst all the chaos that we're currently. It's only gotten
And
more chaotic in a week. In a week, it's gotten even more chaotic.
if we woke up today, if we, the election, September, or I'm sorry, November 5th, if we woke up November 6th to what we're dealing with right now, I think we all would just go, what the,
Yeah.
right? Um, so I think you're right. And I think the thing about getting involved locally with local elections, local school board, local city council, it's impactful in your neighborhood.
Hmm.
And I think you have a real sense of self. You have a real sense of community. Um, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Um, I think the other thing is that the I wrote three things down that we have to recognize this for what it is, and I think you just said that it's bleak. It is not just a difference of opinion. We're not talking about like I had somebody get upset with looking for a quick way to find all your Christian nationalist friends, go to Turning Point USA and Charlie Cook's page, and it will show you who are mutual friends. Who are you friends with that are following those pages? And I
Right.
just I unfriended like 95% of those people. Some people I knew probably followed the page without truly understanding what it was about.
Right.
So I did the trifecta. If they followed Trump, Turning Point USA, and Charlie Kirk, they were
Yeah.
gone. Had a woman message me, and I was shocked she messaged me publicly and not privately because I wasn't about to have the conversation publicly, but she
All right, I guess if you're gonna push the issue.
okay. She said, well, I think I even did a screenshot because people typically like delete stuff like that because I responded, of course, and um so basically what she said, and she's a nice person. Let me just start. I don't have anything against her as a human being. I curate my digital space, and I am not required to be connected to people whose morals and values are significantly different than mine.
Somebody
So,
commented or on, I think it's on my page. Yeah, so they said, I think you're a leftist. I mean, or I don't. I think you're not leftist. I mean, you seem liberal-ish because you're very innocent. You're very innocent, and nothing that you are saying is going to help. Okay.
hey, thanks.
Yeah, great information.
Get your feedback. Um, Nothing you say is going to help. We hadn't even gotten to the action items.
Yeah, that's where we're at now. Stick around.
Hey,
maybe,
okay,
maybe.
moving on. So I'd like to think that my friendship is more important than my political opinion, religious affiliation, or sexual orientation, which is kind of funny because she's a cis white uh, woman in a heterosexual relationship. But she goes, I don't want to lose you as a friend because we have differences. And I was like, okay, we don't have differences, honey. We have moral and value differences, not just political differences. So I think we have to recognize that what's going on for what it is, and we have to take a stand. And you said we can't capitulate. Sometimes capitulating is putting up with. Sometimes capitulation is I'm putting up with your MAGA shit, and I'm not going to put up with it anymore.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay. I think the other thing is that we have to be vigilant in terms of being silenced. I see too many people who are not willing to speak up. Okay, your friend, what's their tagline? What's their name? The person who said whatever that comment was.
Oh, their handle is Nav. Thank you, Nav,
Okay, so
for
Nav says
engaging.
nothing you're saying is helping. So I'm not sure what his vision. Maybe, hey Nav, tell us what your vision of loveliness is about what we should be doing. That would be helpful. Um, but I think staying silent is dangerous in this moment because you talk about capitulation, Aaron. I think we have to also define what does that mean? Okay, capitulation isn't just agreeing. I'm not going to feed you yet. Now, scoot, I'm busy. Capitulation can also be silence.
Yeah.
Capitulation can be we don't speak up. Because someone asked me the other day, what's the point in you pushing back against what Charlie Kirk said? What's the point in you um, pointing out? What's the point in you pointing out these things? And I'm like, because if my silence is agreement, my silence doesn't clarify the lies. My silence doesn't shine the light on the mis or disinformation
Yeah, and
that
your
was.
the influence that can have on other people. It's like the thing I've said before. Like, you don't debate people to win the to win over the person that you're debating with. You debate people to counter their points for the people that are watching the debate.
100%. If I had a dollar for every person who said, I saw you having that discussion with so and so, and you're the one who taught me this because I was like, I don't want to argue with these
Yeah,
people.
because you're not going to change
No,
their mind. I'm not trying to change their mind.
and so you're the one who taught me. You're not arguing with that person. You're laying out information that helps other people. So
Right.
So the first thing is we recognize this for what it is. The second thing is we don't be silent. And the third thing is we have to keep sounding the alarm, so to speak. So you always talk about action items. So when we sound the alarm, part of that is get involved with local politics.
Yes, I thought that was a really great point. Whenever Josh was on as my guest co-host, was that aspect of it, was the, like, we should be taking time to be more involved in our local elections, because realistically they do have the greatest effect on your life.
It's the long view. I also think people who start at school boards are going to move to city council, are going to move to state rep, are going to
Right.
move to state senator, are going to move to higher positions. So we have to start somewhere. We're not going to solve this from the top down.
Right.
So that's what else can people do though? Because we want Nav to know that we're serious about doing the things.
Yeah, we've got the whole list of things that we normally talk about. So the main one that we've done in the past, and I still use it, is the Five Calls app. Depending on where you live, this may or may not be something that's of any value to you. But Five Calls is an app that you can get on your phone that allows you to basically instantaneously contact your representatives, the international representatives. So like, it gives you exactly who your rep is. It tells you, what district you're in, and it gives you their contact information. Furthermore, it's got stuff built into it that lets you basically pick topics to call about. So if you've got something that you're particularly passionate about, it gives you a
'Cause I would
topic. It provides you with a script.
I would need the script. That's the thing I thought was pretty cool, was that I would need at least a guideline. Like, kinda what do I say?
Right. Yeah, yeah. Um, and then the main thing about that was, if you some people, whenever you say, yeah, call your rep, they get kind of nervous, because it's unlikely you're going to talk to your representative. It doesn't mean you won't. It's just unlikely. You're probably going to talk to an aide, and people don't want to chew out aides all the time, because they just feel like those are just people doing their job. They're not necessarily in directly aligned with whoever that they're working for. I would say, you don't have to call and talk to somebody if you call before or after 7 a.m. to p.m. If you call anywhere
Right.
after
You
those
go to
times, you'll go to voicemail.
Woohoo!
If you go to
No human
voicemail, yeah,
interaction.
you don't have to talk to anybody. If you go to voicemail, and the Five Apps call reminds you of this too, you do have to give your full address. So that's the disclaimer there. The other two ones that we talk about are the indivisible groups and 5051. If you want to get involved in protesting, those are really solid websites that kind of give you, I went out to No Kings. I had found that through the Indivisible.
Oh, and
Yeah,
those videos you sent were the bomb.
yeah. I mean, I'll say this: the get out and protest no matter what state you're in. I'm in the red state of Texas, and the protests out there, I mean, they got national coverage for the one that was in Dallas. It was huge. So, but it's also a bit like spiritually revitalizing to be out at protests, because then you're with people that are like-minded like you, and you're all equally outraged. And so it does help to just kind of be within those spheres of influence. I did get a response of.
Well, and
by the
The other
way.
thing is the card
Nav.
campaign and signs of justice.
Oh yeah. Sorry, we gotta reply on what Nav thinks we should do.
What does Nav think? Come on, we
That
want to hear.
they think that leftist states should do a collective memorandum and an actual danger of a rift should be made clear. Trump is a bully and needs to be treated that way. You know what? I don't disagree. I think it's a good idea.
I don't.
Yeah,
Nav,
that would be a
Nav, I hope you
fantastic.
are.
I
Nav is like brilliant.
yeah,
So
I
wait,
think that'd be
what
I
is
think
that called? A collective
yeah, a
memorandum?
collective memorandum of the leftist states. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there would be anything wrong with that. Um,
I have seen a lot of conversations about how the blue states, if the country were to divide, um, so if the country were to divide, it was talking about how the top half would be more blue, and then the red would be the lower half. But it was also pointing out that the blue states tend to do better economically, and so the red states might be having a hard
maybe
time.
California's economy is fucking massive, and they are the number one GDP state in the union.
They're
I
like
mean,
they're third in the
yeah,
world,
or
aren't they?
they're fourth in the world. They're again massive economy. As far as the
Yeah.
United States, the next highest two are both red states, though. The next highest two are Texas and Florida, and they are not subsidized like some of the other states are.
Also, don't you also have to when I'm talking about money, I'm talking about like their economy in terms of how their people are doing, not how the state is
Oh
doing.
yeah, and I mean, I guess
Sometimes blue
Texas
states have like a lot of
Texas has a
like,
much lower cost of living. I don't know.
well, the California,
Yeah, like
because I was
California or New York, and I know Florida. I know Florida is also lower than New York, but I don't think it's lower than California.
yeah.
It really just, like I said,
Can
it
you
just kind of
can you
depends.
carry this for just a few minutes while I go check something?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, I'll be back.
Um, because we are some of the other ones are that we talk about for getting like more locally involved. Mom mentioned card campaign. Card campaigning is where they have like a website where you can go and print out cards and then you can leave them. Um, Mom, God love her, she just walked off. She's mentioned like, yeah, you can like give it to your waiter. I would never do that. That would be crazy. Let's see. Trump wants to snub the left because he knows that if the left is not kept scared, then he can't go all. I agree. I mean, we were. I don't know. Whenever you hopped in here, I was talking about almost exactly that. That like one of the reasons that we cannot at all capitulate to what the right is demanding of us after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and why we should take no ownership of it, and why we should not let up on it, is because it is like in essence the prisoner's dilemma. If we grant anything, if we say yeah, the left does need to tone back their rhetoric, then we're just basically telling the right that they can continue to ramp it up. And so like no, like I agree. We can't. It's exactly what Trump wants. He wants to cow the left into doing what he wants because it'll allow him to. I mean, he's already gone pretty dictator, but I absolutely agree, and it's one of the reasons why, like at this point, we should not be in any way, shape, or form backing off on our rhetoric. We should be continuing to just push back on the right's rhetoric and grant them nothing until they take ownership of their own disgusting rhetoric. I mean, that's just unfortunately that's where we are. Like, and that it just kind of sucks, but that's how it is.
What did I miss?
Just again, it's just us. I guess it's all of us circle jerking. Nav just saying that Trump wants to snub the left because he knows that if he keeps us scared, then he can be a dictator. So
Yeah, but see, I mean, Nav, you got it down, dude. Okay, so Nav is on your
yeah, it's on my stream.
well, tell Nav you need to go over to Hopeful Resistance and
Yeah, yeah,
sub-
yeah. That would be great. Yeah, the Hopeful Resistance channel is where we do
we got a whole lot of this stuff we're talking about over there. So,
across a lot of
hey,
different most of the episodes.
I'm gonna have to get wrap all this up. Are you ready to wrap?
Yeah. I just wanted to hit one more thing. If I just talked about the card campaign, and then the only other one I normally hit on is the Unfuck America tour,
Yeah.
where they're basically doing what Kirk used to do. Is they're just doing it on the left leaning side, where they're going around to like college campuses and other locations, and they're basically trying to garnish the minds and hearts of young voters. back towards more left-leaning policy. So I don't know what that looks like now, but
It
it's certain.
was, if we could just, I think to Nav's original point about, nothing's going to work. I think before we can say what's going to work, we have to decide what we want to work. We have to unite with like-minded people, but who is that?
Right.
That could be some, I mean, and what are we going to unite around? Okay, we need to unite around some basic principles, because the only way you unite is that, okay, I think like you do. So we don't have to unite on the details, but okay, do we believe in XYZ, the Constitution, or life, liberty, happiness, the integrity of human beings? I think that's like step one, right?
Right. Well, and I think that's actually one thing that the right has over us is that the right has Donald Trump to rally around, and we don't really have, because we're not, because this is like the thing Josh and I talked about. It's one downside of the left is that we're like Big Tent. We're all about a big pot of multiple beliefs, and
Right,
so
right, right.
yeah, it's really
So,
hard to have a cult like following of one person whenever
well,
we can't all
any,
agree with one person.
I think any group that is successful has a leader, and we don't.
Yeah,
So,
a lot of people that
all right,
want to be, but yeah.
I know. Well,
Got,
and
got to get that
and
messaging. Sorry.
when we have a leader, the purity testing kills them.
I don't
So,
disagree.
yeah.
I
So,
don't disagree.
well, we, Aaron and I could not possibly be more grateful to have had Nav. Our,
Yeah, thanks for hopping in.
we appreciate it quite a bit. Also, I thought I had one more little thing I wanted to say, but I guess not. So we usually close this by saying, stay alert to what's going on, stay hopeful, um, and just stay in the fight. I
Yeah,
hate to use the word fight because that just sounds,
yeah. With the way
we're
things, I don't know. With the way things are
combative.
right now,
Stay in the game. Stay in the game. That's
yeah,
what
I
it
would
is.
say just don't go full nihilist with it. Like
Yeah, let's kind of keep on this side of
yeah,
nihilism.
let's realize that like it's not over yet. It doesn't. It look again. It's look very bleak right now, but it's not over yet. The experiment's
Yeah,
still going.
someone's going somewhere. All right. Well, thank everybody for joining us. And
Yeah.
until we get together again, bye for now.
Bye.